Welcome back to the AgriSpec Tom channel. This is going to be the start of a new series where I'm going to go through and I'm going to vlog what I do in my role and the sort of things that I get up to. So let's kick things off. I'm starting my week on a nice rainy day down here in Gloucestershire, inspecting the Western PDF site, which is the product development field where we showcase things like our wheats, barleys, oilseed rapes, essentially a lot of our cereal stuff. Behind me is winter wheat, and then winter barley and some oilseed rape over there in the distance. And then behind me over here is where we're going to have our spring sown stuff. As it's late October, we're not putting any spring stuff in yet. That will be in 2026 when we drill that up. So everything is very early emerging at the moment because it's only been in the ground a couple of weeks or so, but everything is coming up quite evenly and is looking pretty good. I can't tell you which varieties are in at the moment because I don't have the list in front of me or the map, so I'm not going to pretend that I know what I'm talking about right now, but these are in the very early growth stages. They've emerged well. They're at growth stage 10 roughly, and they're looking fantastic. So the weed burden on this site has been managed very well with some good pre-ems and post-ems. That's my watch. Let me just shut it up. That's been sorted with some good pre-ems and post-ems. Herbicide is going to go, not herbicide, pesticide is going to go on next week onto the wheat. So everything is looking good so far. And this will be then showcased next summer, probably in May, June period. Tuesday morning, just finished packing up the car and heading up to Lincolnshire today. It's about a 3.5 hour drive to where I'm going. So let's grab the dog and make tracks. In you go. It's fair to say that this is a long way from home and it's a bit of a drive, but it's something that I'm used to doing because at the moment there is only one of me in the company, as in like a regional manager. I used to be national sales manager for maize, and I'm regional manager across all crops in the west, but as there's only one of me, I need to do a fair bit of travelling to go and see people who are not in my region, as I said, because there's only one of me. So the person that I'm going and seeing today is a contractor who is based in Lincolnshire, and we're going to go and talk about the cropping plan. We're going to go through some objectives for next year, and these people who I've built a relationship up with, and I go and advise them on what they should be looking at for this coming year, and giving them advice on how to get the best out of products which are in our portfolio. I've also just lined up another meeting tomorrow with someone completely different. This is a farmer. He's growing a lot of wheat, he's growing a lot of maize as well, and he's growing also some barley. So I'm going to go and have a chat with him. He's someone who I already know, and again, this is having a look at cropping for 2026, and I'm going to also go and have a look at a couple of his crops that he's got in. So I'm going to go and have a look at the winter wheat that he's got in. He's got Arnie and Scope. He's got some Graham, got some Hexton. So there's a bit of variety. So I'm going to go and see a few bits of it, I think, and we'll take it from there. So I'm probably going to do that this afternoon, and then I'll have a meeting with him tomorrow and go through everything for 2026. These sort of long journeys can feel like a fair bit of dead time, but thankfully it's quite easy to fill it. So I will answer calls while I'm in the car, or I'll make calls to people to, see how they're doing, whether that's merchants, growers, agronomists, you name it. A call that I've just got off now was from a grower that I've worked with for many years. Even in my past life, when I was an agricultural consultant, he was calling me to ask for a little, or have a bit of a chat about a change that he's wanting to make in his business. So traditionally this guy has been a big ploughing guy. He's a cereal farmer. He has always ploughed to give himself a hard reset so he can create a very fine seed bed. And the problem is that, and it's a conversation we had when I was working as a consultant, going out and seeing him, was that it's very costly to do that, and we should maybe look at considering different options. So he's now come back to me years after we initially had the conversation to discuss it. So he's wanting to move to a min-till scenario. There are several steps you've got to do in order to get to that point where you are getting the best out of your soil in order to establish a crop well. You can't just go away from doing something quite dramatic as ploughing and then creating a fine seed bed, working that soil profile down, to then just min-tilling or direct drilling. It takes a bit of a layered approach. And this is the thing. So what I've said to him was, okay, you need to treat every single field as an individual. You need to go out, you need to assess the soil structure, and you need to see where the levels of compaction are and look at removing them with a flat lift, which is a subsoiler. And if the compaction is too bad, we really need to then think about knocking that field out with a plough, putting it in a bit of a lay for a couple of years, and then kind of coming back to it maybe. So we need to be quite critical over the soil profiles in each of your fields in order to get this plan off, because this is going to take time to build and to create an infrastructure where you can reduce your tillage. So the plan moving forward is that I will go out, we'll go and have a look at a couple of fields together, and we'll set him out on the right path, and then he'll go and start reviewing his own fields, creating a little bit of a soil map for himself, and then look at how he's going to establish this long term. Farming through the car window is definitely not conducive to safe driving habits, just saying. Although it is one of my favourite hobbies. I must be in the heart of somewhere which really has bad black grass problems, or just grass weed problems in general, because I'm seeing plenty of fields which are bare and have not been drilled, but some decent stale seed beds are there. And we're now late October, so I wonder how long they're going to get left. I have arrived early for the meeting, quite early, which suits me just fine. Means that I can take the dog out quickly for a little walk before we get into the meat and potatoes of this meeting. It's been a long drive for me, but it's been an even longer drive for him. So let's get him out for a bit. Psst, come here. Meeting today ran on a lot longer than expected. We were there for a few hours talking about trials that they're wanting to do, which I'm going to support them with, and gave them some advice on, what I would do with the trials and how I would execute them. So gone away with a bit of a plan about that. Talked about cropping for 2026, so there's now a plan in place for that. Gave them some bits of agronomy tips, which I feel are important for good maize management, because they're going to be undertaking a fair bit more work with maize long term. So discussed quite a bit today actually. With regard to the trials, they're not going to be just maize trials, as in like just seeing how a particular maize variety performs. I can't actually tell you exactly what they're about, but it's all very interesting and all will become clear over the next year or two, hopefully. But we're going to support them with the trials. So it was a lot of long conversations and discussions about what was going to happen next year, how we could work together and implement things well. So it just ran on a bit too much, and now it's quite late in the day. It's getting on near 5 o'clock, and as the clocks have gone back, it's now getting to the stage where it's almost dark. So going out and walking crops is just not going to happen tonight. Would have been another like 40-minute travel time. So I'll just add a bit of time onto mine tomorrow and go and have a look at them then, following a couple of meetings. So for now, just going to go take the dog for another walk for the day, because he's border collie. He needs all the exercise he can get, and we'll then get to the hotel. So in the hotel room, had dinner, and I'm just sitting down to do some work for the evening. Not office work, but actually some CPD work. So in order for me to keep up to date with my professional qualifications, I need to do some continual professional development, and I need to collect a certain amount of points through the year. So at the moment I'm on Basis Classroom, doing a couple of courses to collect some CPD points, because if I don't meet the criteria for the CPD points, I lose my qualifications and I need to do them again. So it's very important I keep up to date with these. So as I said, I'm on Basis Classroom going through a few of their courses. This also helps me keep up to date of new things that are coming down the line, and make sure that when I'm out talking on farm or talking to other professionals, what I say is also correct. Morning meeting done, less of a meeting, more of a coffee and a bit of a catch up. And now I'm just heading over from Sleaford over to Lutton Marsh, so still in Lincolnshire, just around the Wash, to go and have a look at a couple of crops and meet up with a grower over there. So he's growing, from our portfolio, he's growing Arnie and Scope, but there's also a little bit of LG Beowulf there, and also some Graham, I believe another variety, forgotten what it is. But we'll go over there, we'll have a look at those crops, have that meeting, and then it's homeward bound. I'm later than I expected to be, always the way, because I like a chat. Generally people who are in this side of the business enjoy a chat as well, so sticking to a schedule can always be a little bit tricky. Just got to the first field behind me, and this is Arnie that's growing behind me, which is a Group 2. It's quite new into the UK market from us, and this is being grown down near the Wash in Lincolnshire. So we're going to go and have a little look at it, see how it's getting on, and if there's anything we should be alerting the grower about. I've had a good walk around the field now and got a really good feel for how the crop is performing and looking in field. So I have identified an iron deficiency that's creeping into the younger leaves of a fair few of the plants, and this is quite symptomatic of soils with high pHs and soils which have high concentrations of nutrients such as manganese, copper and zinc. So this problem is identified by seeing yellow tipping in the early leaves, or the younger leaves I should say, and there's interveinal chlorosis and yellowing that's going on. So I've identified that as being as an iron deficiency. So I'm going to suggest that the grower consider applying something like a Yarra fir leaf to combat this and to get this back on track, because in order to get good green foliage you do need to make sure that your iron levels are good within the crop, and also it can be a limiting yield factor. So identifying this and getting this corrected is going to be an important consideration moving forward. But how is the rest of the crop looking? It's looking very well actually. This field has been turned over and has had a decent dose of pre-ems and some post-emergence as well, which I imagine. And as this is quite a hot spot for things like blackgrass, it's probably had a couple of modes of action to combat the blackgrass along with good tillage operations. And because it's coming out of sugar beet, it's probably been part of a veg rotation as well. It will also have quite a varied rotation as part of it. So blackgrass control and grassweed management is very good here. I haven't actually seen any weeds coming through. Also, there doesn't seem to be any slug damage that's evidenced in the crop. There's been some good management, and there's no trash that's left on the top, or at least very limited trash from the sugar beet that was in previously. This crop is still within its very early growth stages. We only have, for the most part, one leaf that is fully unfolded within the crop. Some have two leaf, but very few. So it's still in a very early growth stage, but the emergence has been very even, and establishment across the field is very, very good. So this has been prepared well. The rooting depth as well is fantastic within this crop. So overall, it's been given a very, very good start. We just need to kind of get on top of the iron deficiency. I've also seen that the crop has picked up a little bit of a headache from the residual herbicide. I'll show a picture here. But overall, as I said, looking clean. On to the next one. Now down the second field, which is in a Group 4 hard wheat called Scope. This one is also following beet, and there's a few evidence of beet volunteers coming through and beet trash that's around. Beet volunteers I don't think they've had their post-emergence herbicide on it yet. The emergence isn't as even in this field as it was with the Arnie. Part of this is because A, this was drilled after the Arnie, but also B, I think that there are potentially some drier spots in this field, just because it won't have had, probably hasn't had as much rain as it really needs, and there has been a very dry season leading into this drilling campaign for 2025 going into 2026. So I think these are some dry spots. If we just have a little look at the ground, as you can see, this is one of the spots that hasn't emerged as well compared to other parts of the field. And if we just have a little bit of a look, Tam, don't dig. There's a bit of moisture there. It's a little bit cloddy. I've had a chance to just have a look at a few of the plants in their early growth stages and just see how they're rooting. And looking at this root profile here, you can see that they are rooting very well. In fact, I would say this is a better root structure than I saw with the Arnie in the last field. This field has worked out nicely. The profile is looking very, very good, and it's very, very soft. So they removed quite a bit of compaction from this field. Maybe not so much over there, where we saw a little bit of patchy emergence. But however, for the most part, the rooting that we're seeing is looking excellent. And these plants are coming through looking very, very healthy. As I said, all of which are kind of at first leaf unfolded, so very, very early growth stages. But overall, very happy with how this is coming up, and the field is looking excellent. So as I said, this is a group 4, this is a hard wheat, so this would typically go into feed for livestock. This wouldn't typically go for making bread. It's got lower protein, it's got a high bushel weight and high yields, so this is a good barn filling variety, and that's what it's designed to do. But overall, to kick things off for the season, this is looking excellent, and they've done a fantastic job of getting us up, immersion away for the most part. So hopefully it continues and the weather is going to be favourable and we don't have too wet a patch or too dry a patch, and we get conditions which are favourable to get a really good yield off this crop. Let's go and have a look at the last crop of the day before I need to go home. So unlike the other two fields that we've seen, this field was drilled following rye. So I believe the rye went into anaerobic digestion, and again, this is a group 4, this is scope, same as the last field, and the dog is now trying to eat the remains of a bird. Tam, come here. Tam, leave it. Come on. Go walking with the doggies, they said. It'll be fun, they said. So this was drilled roughly the same time as the last field, probably on the same day to be fair. It's a similar level of establishment, all with one leaf unfolded. Rooting again is pretty good in this field, so soil management has been pretty good. Trash hasn't been buried, so I'm assuming this hasn't been ploughed, obviously. I don't know what tillage operation they've done with this field, probably flat lift, disc and then drilled. But overall, again, this is coming up very nicely, and there's a reasonable amount of moisture in the soil as well, so that's a big difference to the summer that we've had, where there's been very little moisture coming through, and this crop is, again, like the other one, coming out really well. So there's nothing else now to do except get back in the motor and head on home, and it's like a 3.5, 4 hour drive home. So it's now 3:45, and yeah, I'm going to be back a bit late, but then again, this is part of the job. Sometimes you can finish off the day early, sometimes you're just going to finish quite late, and today's going to be one of those days. The change in temperature has been quite dramatic over the last couple of weeks. It's gone from being around 20 degrees to now, I think we're touching on about 9, and it's only about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So yeah, it's just dropped off quite quickly. Not complaining though. Hopefully it means that we're going to get a little bit of a colder winter rather than the mild ones we've had over the last couple of years. Got back from Lincolnshire yesterday, very late in the evening. Traffic was absolutely appalling, God knows why. But today, not really been out on farm. Well, not been out on farm at all, actually. It's been very much an admin day, so there's not been much to report, really. It's been just catching up on emails that I have not answered the last couple of days, putting dates in the diaries with merchants to go out on farm to see growers and help them with their cropping for 2026, and also see existing crops that are in the ground, and also just kind of prepare the calendar for the rest of the winter. That's basically all it's been, and some very monotonous kind of stuff as well. Yesterday, realised after I got back that I think my mic is a little bit broken. To be fair, I have abused these quite aggressively, so I've had to order a couple more. But let me know what you think of these kind of blogs. I'm trying to sort of work out how to do this and my way through it. This isn't naturally what comes to me to do these kind of things, but given the fact that there was an overwhelming response of please do them when I asked, I thought, okay, well, let's give it a go. Let's kind of work this out together. So anything advice that you guys can give me, anything you think that you'd like to see less of, more of, that sort of thing would be lovely. I'm feeling my way with this. Look, I'm coming from doing short form content and technical content on YouTube, but short form content primarily on like TikTok and Instagram, now moving over to YouTube. So this is a whole new world for me, and I am ill prepared for it. So any advice would be much, much appreciated. I've just arrived at the office. It's 8:30 in the morning, and I've already had 3 missed calls from agronomists. So looks like the day is going to start being quite busy. That is, if this is a sign of things to come. Couldn't film any more yesterday because my mic gave up the ghost and broke, which I already said it was broken, but it actually finished up and just stopped working altogether. So thankfully, managed to pick up a new DJI mic to get back going. Tam, come here. So I'm just out walking the dog now. It's Friday, it's late afternoon. To be honest with you, the last couple of days, it has literally been discussing what's going on next year. I've had a lot of questions about getting lists out of what products are going where and to who. So we've just been preparing those off, getting everything ready, and then that will go out to customers in the not too distant future, we hope. So I've had loads of calls about that, and calls about joining merchants out on farm to do some technical visits to support them. Again, there are loads of them at this time of year, and my diary has just filled up for November now, and December is getting there as well as January. So things are very, very busy, even in quite a quiet period where there's nothing going on at the moment. I mean, wheat's coming up, nothing's really happening, you know, post-emergence has been put on, everything's starting to shut down now. Unless, of course, you're in Cornwall, because unbeknownst to me, didn't realise, stupidly, but apparently there are plenty of people who haven't actually got stuff drilled yet because it's been so wet. So didn't realise that was the case, that was news to me. But that takes us to the end of the week, and really the end of this first vlog. I don't know how I've done with it, frankly. I need to probably be a little bit better at kind of putting these together and actually learning about them. So any feedback is appreciated, because as I said previously, it's very different content to what I'm used to putting together. So excuse mistakes and things which aren't quite right. So please let me know your feedback. If you haven't already, please give me a follow, because I really would appreciate it, or subscribe, because this is YouTube, not TikTok. And I will speak to you soon, and I will get some more vlogs out there and hopefully make things a bit more interesting for you guys.